So welcome to our new members. We have Darby Benarchik, Randy Ford, and my man TJ Smink. So welcome to the family, everybody. Quick recap last week. We have quite a few, so let's try to get through this, like Dev said, as quickly as possible. We're going to kick it off with Joey DeCrosta. So Joe, your challenge last week was to create a spreadsheet with all your current and past clients and then begin to reach out. How do we do, bud? You're on mute, my man.
I'm mute here. How about, can you hear me?
Yep.
Good morning. So we did great. I wrote down 10 actually. And out of those 10, 7 actually got back to me. And I was able to schedule an appointment with them. Other 3 actually didn't get back to me, but that's okay. I was able to book those 7 people. And that actually turned into more business for me, reaching back out to them. So that was great.
Good stuff. So ultimately you went into action and built your list. That was the ultimate goal. Like the good thing is we try to do the small commitment. So you built your list. On top of that, you went the next step and reached out to them and stuff like that, dude. So great stuff, man. Yeah, and just remember, don't just have it for this week. Now and this is for everybody, whatever we talk about, this isn't just a weekly thing, right? So try and turn this into a new lifestyle, into a new routine, into a new habit. So good stuff, Joe.
All right, good work, sir. Moving along to John Lorenzo. Morning, brother. All right, so John, for yourself, you're going to create a script to call your top 100 clients, and we're going to move along to making 5 calls a day so you can knock them out in a month. How do we do starting?
So I made a list of all of our clients already, got all their contact info in a nice spreadsheet. I did not write my script. That's on today's list, is to write my script. But what we're going to be doing is, as some of you guys know, we just started doing stickers in-house. So we're printing a bunch of 2-2 creative stickers, and we created a campaign where we're going to mail them all out a thank you card that says, hey, we're lucky to have you. Thanks for sticking with us. Throw a bunch of stickers in there.
Oh!
Yep, mail that out to all of our top 100 clients, then start following up with phone calls.
Beautiful. Good stuff, John.
All of that. Good job, sir. Moving over to Mid. So for Mid, your challenge last week, sir, was to protect 2 hours of prospecting time per day. How do we do?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good with that, pretty religious with it. So I move it around based on appointments, but I'm probably doing a little bit more prospecting than that, like just solid protected time. So
love that. Good stuff, mate. And that block, just like think of it like Tetris. Like some days you may have to move that block, but be relentless with holding that block. Cause I'll tell you, man, there's no better feeling than when I'm in front of my computer desk, like relieving all anxiety because I know I'm doing what I need to be doing and it's not time wasting. I build my bunker around. Guys, whenever we talk about lead gen time, build your bunker. What do I mean by that? Go to bathroom before you sit down, get your protein bar, whatever you need to make sure that you don't need to get up and have that cooler talk and block and waste another 10 minutes of your 2-hour lead gen time. Build your bunker, protect it, put a sign on your door, do not disturb, close your emails, whatever that is. And I'm telling you, when you're humming at all cylinders, there's no better feeling than knowing that you're doing lead generation, not time wasting activity to build your business. So good stuff, man. Glad to hear that you're getting better at that, man.
All right, moving along to John Milne. So John, we're going to refine a better daily schedule, more specifically create better habits for your morning routine. How do we do?
Doing good. I made a ton of progress. My schedule still needs to be tightened up, but a few things that have been working really well. Obviously, committing to the things I'm going to do in the morning instead of just waking up and shooting by the hip. So, working on that schedule. I have to tighten it up a little bit. A couple things. Steve Goodman actually told me this and worked really well. Is building in time for family time. Playing with my 1-year-old son for a few minutes, talking to my wife, things like that I wouldn't have put on my schedule. So building that in, and then, some help that I got from Mike and Fernando last week was, the morning routine starting at night, getting my gym clothes ready in the morning, kind of starting that countdown and getting ready for the next day has helped really well. Need to work on consistency a little bit and tighten in my morning schedule because I seem to be running a little bit behind, but I made a ton of progress this week.
Love it.
Great
A little
stuff.
bit better every week, man. That's all you can ask for. By the end of the year, you'll be unrecognizable.
I do not believe I saw Claudio on the call. Claudio, did you log in? I did not see him. Okay.
He's going to be on the milk box. Don't worry.
Mr. Shakur, good morning. I did see Gary. Thought I saw Gary now.
He is. I did see him on. He was saying that he had trouble logging in, and then I saw him pop on. But
He must be back off again. All right, moving along. I don't see Michael Trinori either. All right, so then we have Fernando Torres. Good morning, Fernando.
Hey guys, for me, my goal or my task was to start logging my leads or my contacts into our CRM. And I was able, like, we were starting from scratch. I was using the CRM for sales and stuff, but I wasn't putting in the leads and or old clients to better start tracking them. So we had a spreadsheet and I moved everything over. We had 48 leads on the spreadsheet. I moved everybody over into the CRM and started to categorize them, put them in, you know, what phase of the sales process they're in and how to contact them. And that actually led to better follow-up last week and sending out a contract yesterday that I should be getting today for a new sale. So, you know, that's where I am with that.
beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
Love that. All right, and last but certainly not least, and anybody who's using the Facebook page will already know that this was taken care of. But Maria, I'm going to give you the stage. We were going to put together a script and have your first 2-hour time block for lead generation. How'd you?
Well, thanks to Matt, I have a script.
Boom.
Yeah, really. But I didn't get through my 2-hour block because I've practiced. I have to be honest. I just didn't feel comfortable. Like, I thought his script was brilliant and I want to adopt it. But I'm trying to make it sound like me and sound like natural. So anyone who will stay still long enough, I practice with. So I have to say that's the part that I've accomplished. So this week, you know, a new week, new goal.
They definitely want it to feel natural. And if you would like to call me randomly, I will be your test subject as well.
I would love to call you randomly. Okay, thank you.
And Dev, back to the studio to you, sir. We're all wrapped up.
All right, so we have 3 minutes left before I introduce Sandra, but I do want to give it to the floor because
Wait, Dev, sure Gary did just jump back on. Not to cut you off, sorry.
What's up? Who just jumped back on?
Gary jumped back on, and he was off earlier. He was one of the challenges from last week. So Gary, good morning. Just catching up with you. So your challenge last week was 2-hour time block at least one day this week for generation. How'd we do?
Good morning. Thanks, Justin. Good to see everybody. So I did a little bit of, I guess, habit stacking. Instead of just putting it on my calendar, which I always struggle with, I made a little Post-it note for myself and track my 2 hours. And good to report back. I did 2 hours and 12 minutes. And like a couple of the videos that I saw, you know, being done with your day, at the end of the day yesterday, I had some time. I said, let me make a couple extra calls and set an extra meeting in those 12 minutes. So, you know, just that little bit of extra push. We put another potential client meeting on my calendar. And I also mentioned on the personal side, been doing physical therapy. Today's the first day I woke up without back pain in like probably months. And down 7 pounds since we started here in like 2.5 weeks ago. And we're doing physical therapy 2-3 days a week. So both on the business and personal side, you know, hit what we set out to accomplish.
Love it,
man. Yeah, love that. One finger in the back's good, and way to keep the foot on the gas and get that extra appointment. Love that.
All pillars, man. That's what this community's focused on. It's so funny from the outside in. Everybody thinks we're like some fitness crew or something. I'm like, yo, listen, I'm not a person. We're not personal trainers here. It just happens to be because it's so foreign for everybody to understand that it's internal work first that propels a lot of the external work. And it's just so funny. What's just a challenge crew? You guys are out doing blah, blah, blah. So, and it's always be a testament to everybody executing. And that's the bottom line. So, Gary, I love that you already said you gave yourself an extra push. Guys, listen, for everybody in this community, we can only do so much, but there's going to be like when I say the core values of, accountable, self-accountability, at some point the ball's in your court. And the minute you realize that it's really up to you to push yourself outside of what we're talking about, the game changes for you, right? So it's not just being on this call and being like, oh, there it goes. I got my group calling, or I watched it. Like, no, this is, execution, right? So challenge yourself. The minute you realize there ain't nobody else out, this is a great push. This is a community that not many people have, but outside of this isn't enough. So I got to tell you guys that as much as I'm pumped up about this community is not going to be enough for you. What makes it enough is your self-accountability to do the work when nobody's looking, when nobody's patting you on the back, right? That's when, I hate to be so cliche, but that's when champions are made, and that's when results are done. When you do things, when there's nobody to pat you on the back. The good thing is that everybody, you have this here. But man, that self-accountability is huge. And nobody told Gary, hey, give me another 12 minutes after your 2-hour time block. No. And I hope everybody takes that as a lesson to challenge yourself, so, all right, we're at 7:16. Thank you for all those for the accountability. Most importantly, thank you for everybody showing up. Most importantly, and investing into your personal well-being and your business, which then trickles down to everything else in your life. But today we have a Zoom training call. And as we finish up, for those of you that are new, we did a full 4-call month focus on building your sphere, building your database, influencing your database, getting lead generating through your database, inspiring your database, leveraging the relationships. So we really focus on, multiple avenues on how to do that. A lot of people execute it and implement it. And guys, like I always say, don't just, all right, that's it this month. No, these are new habits that you'll be plugging into. Hopefully when you guys are filling out your blueprint or whatever one, filling in those commitments each and every week, now you know what goes in that commitment. So it's not foreign to you, and you got all these different ideas on what to put in there so you can fulfill, pouring into your database. But I have a friend, Sandra, who's our guest speaker, and I met Sandra through one of my coaches, and he actually was the one who gave me the idea for this community. But I met Sandra through one of the digital marketing communities I'm a part of. But they're not just digital marketing; they're kind of like this, like they're just a community of people, obviously helping each other build business, but personally, we're all there for each other too. So I've gotten to know Sandra over the past couple of years, and she's just been a very inspirational person to me. Like I told you guys, we highlighted a lot of, when we talk about the personal development commitment. I know the routine or the challenge 75 hard was brought up. Well, Sandra actually completed that, and I've literally seen visibly an unbelievable, change there. And then, even on that end, obviously, when you work on your mindset and your health and your routine and your discipline, what I've seen in her business world, that's just been skyrocketing also. Even more inspiration on top of that. Next thing you know, she's busting out a top 15 podcast. She's about to be on TEDx. She's growing, businesses all across the country. But the thing is, it's not just on the digital marketing aspect. And this is why I really also wanted to bring her in is guys, at the end of the day, we all need to get better at marketing and the new environment age of marketing. And that's with social media. How do you break through all the noise and distractions of social media to get people to want to do business with you, to get people to like, know, and trust you? And we've coached a lot about that. And you guys are all seeing the breakthroughs on this. But Sandra's done it at a very, very high level. And what happens is for her to grow her own business, and for her to grow other companies' business, what I've seen her do it firsthand, and I've seen the results of her crushing her business and her brand and the people that she's getting on her podcast and leveraging Clubhouse too. And I know we kind of highlighted that. So all these different topics are very, very, very important for each and every single one of you on here. Now, what I'll say is take your notepad out, and this is recorded. For the most part, guys, if you can just, and you're going to walk away with way more than this, but if you can just take one thing out of this and start implementing it, don't be a content junkie, right? Don't go on all these trainings, be a part of all these groups, and don't execute or implement anything. It's not going to be perfect when you try implementing this stuff, but that's what you got the community to kind of to lean on and to really help hold you accountable. But I don't want you guys to just listen through this. I want you to write down things that you want to take action on, so this time is not wasted for you. So Sandra, thank you so much for hopping on. I'm pumped to have you, and I'm pumped to see how you can share your journey and what you do with everybody else and pour into our community.
Hey guys, thank you, Devin. Can you hear me all right, Devin?
Yep. By the way, Sandra's in Montana, and what time is it over there?
It's 5 o'clock in the morning here.
Yep.
I told Devin he's literally the only person I would get up this early for. So, while I've changed a lot of things, I am still a night owl, and even my son, we go to bed about 11 o'clock, and he wakes up about 10 o'clock, and I wake up about 9 o'clock. That's how we roll around here. So, good morning to everyone, and kudos to every woman that has her hair dried and everything all ready to go for the day, even at 7 o'clock in the morning your time. So, congratulations. What an amazing group. I do want to highlight, just real quick, going into my 75 hard story, the power of these groups. When I found myself in the midst of the 75 hard challenge, it really dawned on me that I started getting into kind of that dark, twisty place. I was like, nothing is working out right. And then I started blaming COVID, right? So this was right around March. I lost the majority of my clients within a 48-hour period. I was doing specifically digital marketing for companies. Everybody panicked. I panicked. But what I kept telling everybody was, no, I'm cool. I got a plan. No, I'm cool. I got a plan. I was doing a lot of free coaching. I was calling it digital marketing triage, teaching people how to use Zoom. It was like a whole different world a year ago, right? And I have the group that Devin's in that I've been in for 3 years now. I think this is my 3rd year anniversary. And the guys kept telling me, they're like, something's wrong. Sandra, or my mentor, was like, something's wrong. What's going on? And I'm like, everything's fine. Everything's fine. And nothing was fine. Everything was out of whack. My health had kind of caught up to me. And my mindset was trash, you guys. I was in a really bad place. But I had this group of people that I've worked with. Some of them I've met in person. I actually have a picture of them all right here on my wall. From a Bobby Stocks training in Puerto Rico. So they're always judging me every day. But that's how important these guys, this group that I'm part of, has become, that they literally are on my family wall, because they are that important. So the more active you get in a group like this, the more blessings you're going to see out of it, the more inspiration you're going to see out of it. And whether you ever listen to anything Devin or Justin has to say, just the group itself, is absolutely priceless. So use each other, lift each other up, be there for each other, and you guys will literally change your life and everybody else's life in this room. So I love this. And you guys have a big group too, which is super exciting.
We just started, Sandra. This started about a month and a half ago, and we're up at almost 50 members.
Yeah, winners are drawn to each other. So
and by the
I
way,
absolutely love it.
Justin brought up a great point. Out of the 44 members, which one of them is Rob, so he's a ghost, 39 showed up. So that's
Nice.
Kudos to everybody here, guys. That's kudos to everybody here. So thank you for that.
Well, especially because it's early, right? And there's a million ways to come up with why you shouldn't do early. It's so you guys go forth and get to know each other for sure. So, which brings me into the 75 hard challenge. Everybody was starting it, March was hard on the whole world, not just me. I'm not special, but, the guys kept saying, we're going to do this 75 hard challenge. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a boy thing. Like, I'm cool. And then so a couple of them started it and they're like, bro, this is awesome. And I was like, yeah, still sounds like a dude thing. Like, I'm cool. Right. Trying to use that as an excuse. I'm like, no, I'm cool. And then I was like, okay, I'm the only one that's not leveling up right now. Like, I'm watching them just in 2 or 3 days start to level up. So I joined in, and so if you're not familiar with the 75 hard, you have to drink a gallon of water, which to me was my personal nightmare every single day that I did it. You have to follow a diet. You have to do 2 workouts, and one has to be outside, 2 45-minute workouts. read 10 pages of a business book, and then take a progress picture every day. So I went through this, and it was absolutely amazing. I have a 2-year-old son, and that was one of my excuses, right? Well, I don't have time to work out because of Gage. I can't drink that much water. Like, literally, some of us were saying that. Like, no, you guys don't understand. I physically can't drink enough of that much water, right? I don't like to read books by hand anymore. You know, you have to carry them around. I've already got a purse full of a bunch of other stuff. You guys, I'm trying to run a business here. I don't have time for all of these shenanigans you're trying to get me into. Oh, and you have to go 75 days without drinking alcohol. Like, then I can't be like, oh, I whine so much, right? Like, that's every mom's mantra right now. And what I realized on about day 3 was I was full of shit. Like, I could do all of this stuff, and I could figure, I'm sorry. I've only been talking for 3 minutes and I've already cussed. Sorry, I apologize. But what really happened was I started realizing that I'm in control of the way that my day goes. My son's not in control of the way my day goes. My husband isn't. They're part of my day. My clients aren't. My prospecting, you know, you guys are doing 2 hours in trying to block out 2-hour prospecting times right now. I'm in control of everything that happens. And one of the highlights, one of the times where I thought I was kind of getting this, but then it really, really solidified for me was we had an aunt that passed away, and we had to drive down to Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's about a 14-hour drive from Montana. So we loaded Gage up and my mom, and we drove down to Albuquerque. Well, during that trip, I told my mom, I was like, we have to stop somewhere so I can do a 45-minute walk. And we're not ones to stop or kind of drive through people, but we did it anyway. And then the day that we were coming back, we were going to stop and visit my uncle. Well, I had to pre-plan because I knew I didn't want to spend 45 minutes taking a walk when I could be visiting with my uncle I haven't seen in a couple of years. So I got up at 4:30 in the morning and I did my first workout. And then when we got home, it was close, y'all. It was like 10:45 when we got home, and I had to finish everything by midnight. And I was out in the backyard, like walking laps for my outside workout. And I just realized that I really can fit everything into a day. I did end up losing about 60 pounds through the process, and that's what everybody saw. They were like, holy smokes, you look great, you know. But for me, it was so much, my mindset was so strong. And I was starting to say things like, people's opinion of me is none of my business, right? Bobby Stocks talks to me about that all the time. It's like I shed this whole, once you shed your excuse persona, then you're able to really attack anything. You like start having the confidence of your young teenage self all over again. So it was very, very tough, but it also showed me, when I had that extreme schedule, it showed me all of the places where I was cutting myself short, and not giving myself the grace and the ability to take on my own schedule. And I think those of us that are parents, those of us that run businesses, we let everybody else run our schedule, right? Like, we've got to go do this with the kids. We've got to do this with Molly because she's confused at the front desk. Well, Molly will figure it out if you're busy for a few minutes. You'll get your kids to where they need to go, even if you're busy for a few minutes. One of the concessions I had to make was I like to make all of our food homemade. And I had to start looking at, okay, if I am doing all of these workouts, what can I substitute? What can I give myself some grace with? And that looked to make me kind of pre-planning meals. And then I bought a lot of the Costco meals because those are homemade, just they're home in the back. So I was able to find a lot of different substitutions to be able to free up time in other places. So anytime you have a coach or a mentor like Devin saying, you know, you should do something crazy for X amount of time, do it, try it, no matter what it is, because you'll see so much growth through it. It's absolutely amazing. Do you want me to do any questions on that, or roll into you're on mute? That's a quote of 2021 too.
No, so yeah, so for the most part, yeah, I just wanted to, I know some of the members within this group are doing that. And I just, again, wanted to have another testament of somebody sharing it's not just a fitness challenge. And what happened was it taught you how much you can actually accomplish in a day if you are intentional. And what was the other thing? If you plan, right? I heard you say plan, right? So that is a big thing. And that's ultimately kind of what that challenge kind of told you. And I love how you highlighted the importance of community, right? The bottom line is, and that's kind of how I run my real estate company too with the realtors. Like, I just say, like, to be a part of a community organically makes you do things that you would never do while you're alone on an island. And I feel like a lot of times this is why this community, you know how many onboarding calls I just had yesterday, 3 people, everybody's saying the same thing. Dude, I just feel like I'm on an island. I need a community like this. They feel like they're on an island, right? Which is why, I love this community, and which is why I feel like more and more people are coming in. So I appreciate you highlighting the fact of community. So as far as that's concerned, before we hop on to the next thing, does anybody have any questions for Sandra as far as that kind of challenge, what she's been through, what she learned, anything along the lines of that before we get into kind of the marketing aspect of what Sandra dominates also?
The number one thing I would suggest is if you're looking at 70 Hard specific, you need to listen to Andy Frisella's podcast on it. It's pretty brazen. It's very Andy Frisella.
Yep.
But it's pretty amazing.
Awesome. I saw Justin saying that he's about to start that up too. Justin, I'm excited
All right,
for you. Justin's about to be done a 60-day challenge, and he's been super consistent with it also, man. And the cool thing is people in the community, I know Kevin's been joining him too. So yeah, and that's just, again, community, supporting each other, getting each other through it.
Oh yeah. Without the community, that's the other aspect. Without the community and me being able to kind of lean on those other guys. We had a little joke with Devin about Photoshop pictures.
Yeah.
We kept a lot of humor in it and pushed each other pretty heavily as well.
Yeah.
So the next thing, I know you guys are working on databases and really working your sphere of influence. So I told Devin I'd share some tips I have when it comes to organic social media marketing. So a couple of things I want to highlight here, but these are notepad moments. The first thing is everything I'm going to talk about your Facebook, your personal Facebook profile. Your business page when it comes to Facebook is pay to play right now. You have to put some money behind it to get any sort of reach on a business Facebook page. So right now I'm talking only about your personal profile on Facebook and then your LinkedIn profile. Those are the 2 places that this system can work, and I've seen it work. So a little background on me, I spent my 20s being a cowboy. I went around and produced team roping events, so where you two people on horses rope steers and the fastest person wins. We started a team roping association out of Dennis Tryon's trailer house, and we grew it in the first year to be the 3rd largest team roping association in the country. I raised the ranks from in an industry where it's typically men that announce the events. I rose up to the #1 female announcer in the West, which you can't sound more cowboy than that, right? Like I feel like I should twirl a gun when I say it. So I had no traditional business experience. I'd never met any people in my area that were in business, so to speak, outside of the cowboys that did it. So when I got into insurance sales and then eventually opened my own insurance agency. And when I did that, I was like, what am I going to do? Right? Like I've spent all my 20s kind of traveling around and doing cowboy stuff. What am I going to do now? So I got into Facebook and just hired some mentors. I hired a bad mentor, but he taught me some cool things at the same time. And from that was born the 5x5x5 challenge. In doing that, in my first year in sales, I was nominated for our best in billings as an insurance agent. I wasn't even an agent yet. I hadn't opened my office, but the way that I marketed myself and the way I did everything, when people thought about insurance in our area, they thought about me. So that was really cool. So it's not a one-hit wonder, because then through the insurance agency, about 6 months into it, my husband was diagnosed with a brain tumor. So we ended up focusing all of our time and attention on that battle and ended up selling the insurance agency. And that's when I decided to go into digital marketing full time. So now here I am, a kid from Montana that made a huge name for myself in my local area. I call it becoming the Kardashian of your local area. And then now I had to get into digital marketing. So I did the exact same thing in the digital marketing space and was able to sign some really big clients within the first few months of me moving my business from the insurance brick and mortar into the digital marketing space. So it works and it continues to work. Through that, I've actually been able, through this system I'm going to teach you guys, I've been able to stay hooked into my local community, even though I live 45 minutes away in a really small town, and I don't get into town very often to go network with people. But when the TEDx organization came to Billings, the committee actually reached out to me to do a TEDx presentation, because again, the system shows kind of how to be everywhere without having to go everywhere. So I've had some really huge wins off of it. My business has all been organic. I have one ad running right now, and that's the first ad I've ran in 3 years. So the 5x5x5 challenge with no further ado. And it sounds like some of you guys have even started this. So the very, very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to create 5 lists, and we're going to put 5 people on it. So we want to label each list. And I like to give you names for the first 3, and then the next ones you guys name. So the first one is your top 5 heavy hitters in your town. So whether that's the mayor, whether it's Devin, whoever you dream to be in front of, whoever you being associated with is going to help you leverage more business out of the community, right? Everything we're going to talk about with this is turning Facebook and LinkedIn and any other social media you have into a money-making tool, not a place where you post copy and waste time. Facebook and LinkedIn from this second on is your money-making tool. So when we're making this list, who are the top 5 heavy hitters in your community that are going to help you make more money, right? Kind of that Grant Cardone, who's got my money. The next one is your top 5 dream clients. Do you want to sell the president a house? Who are your top 5 dream clients? The next are your top 5 fan club. Asterisks, your mom and your Aunt Janet can't be on there. Like true, actual, like Devin's one of the members of my fan club. I know if I post something, he's going to react to it. And I can tell you the other 4. And then go through and make 2 more top five lists. Another idea would be your top 5 current clients, the people that you've done business with that really love you. Another one could be your top 5 referral partners. So the people that you either want to refer business with or you're already referring business with. So make 5 lists and put your top 5 dream clients on there.
What was the first one you say?
The top 5 heavy hitters.
Top 5 heavy hitters.
Top 5 dream clients. Top 5 fan club. And then some other, those ones you have to have to make this really kind of work. Some other ideas would be your top 5 current clients, the people that you actually enjoy doing business with, your favorite avatar, your top 5 referral partners, those folks on there. Some other, and some lists you can draw off of is if you look at your chamber of commerce, who's heavy in the chamber, they tend to be the top heavy hitters in town. Depending on your age, look at most chambers have a next generation chapter, like 40 and under. Those are great resources for these lists as well. But what we want to do is kind of make a solid list of 25 people that we're either already in front of or we want to be in front of. And then what we're going to do is we're going to send out 5 connection requests a day. So we're going to send out 5 friend requests or 5 LinkedIn requests.
To these people?
Not to these people specifically. So if Kanye West is on your list and you want to sell Kanye West a house in your local area, you're not going to be able to just cold send Kanye West a message, right? You're not going to be able to just send him a friend request and get that accepted. So, unless you're Devin, that might work. But, but what you need to do is you need to work up the ranks. So who's the lowest gatekeeper that you might have somebody in common with? So when I did this, and when I do this, what I would do is I would go through somebody's friend list. So when I got into the digital marketing world, when I hired my mentor, I went through his friend list, and then I cross-referenced what was going on the internet. Who in this community made the biggest waves, the biggest moves? Who did I want to be in the room with?
I got the biggest, that just reminded me here.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, because this is how I do it. With Instagram, though, you see somebody that you're trying to get in touch with post with somebody else, then you connect with them, you direct message them, right? Or you connect with them and you start, okay, you're making sense.
Yeah, you killed it on Instagram on this. The reason I leave Instagram off of this, if you're familiar with Instagram, you guys can do this as well. There's just a very, very short amount of people that really understand Instagram right now, but that's what you're trying to do. So if Michael here is the guy I'm trying to get to, on my screen, I would have to connect with Steven, Jeff, Andrew, Justin, and then eventually I'm going to have that relationship with Michael. So when it comes, especially to your heavy hitters, you want to go to their friends list and see who are they connected with and who do you have friends in common with, and then start adding them. And all of a sudden, you're kind of like a fly in the room all the time. People are like, Sandra is freaking everywhere, right? And they just start, all of a sudden, they just start recognizing you. And this worked like gangbusters in my local community with the mayor. By the time I got to the point to where I could walk into a networking event, I just walked up to him and I was like, Mr. Mayor, how are you doing? And he knew me. He felt like he knew me because he had seen me on Facebook so much, and I had kind of worked through the ranks. And then all of a sudden I was having conversations with him and comments. So it also helps you skip small talk. I don't know if you guys hate small talk, but I hate small talk. So we can walk into a room and start a conversation with anybody if you're paying attention. So we're going to send out 5 connection requests. Now, the number one thing you don't want to do is don't message them right as soon as you connect with them. Don't start going and commenting on their stuff. It comes off creepy, especially if you're a man connecting with a woman or a woman connecting with a man. Like, just don't send messages right away. Don't start commenting on their stuff right away. Keep a list of what you're doing and then start organically creating those connections. If it's somebody you met at an event, like if some of you guys send me a Facebook friend request from this, you can say, hey, thank you, and give me some feedback or whatever. That's appropriate. But if you're just messaging or if you're just connecting with somebody and you haven't met them, we want to take it one step at a time. The next thing is we're going to interact with 5 different posts on Facebook every day. So find people that are in that list, people strategically. Again, if you comment on your Aunt Janet's stuff while she is a huge fan of yours, you're not going to get any business. 5 intentional interactions, and we want to do 2 to 3 sentences on those. So don't just go in and comment, oh, Justin, it looks like your family had a good birthday, or fun, right? Go in and say, wow, this birthday party looks absolutely amazing. I love the decorations you guys put up, and I hope you and your family had a blast celebrating your little one. Make a interaction the same way you would at a networking event, right? We don't walk up to people at networking events and we're like, hi, I'm Sandra, and I have a coaching course, and I thought maybe you might be interested in it. Here's my link. And then you hand it to them, right? But when it comes to the internet, we do that. We just start saying words and pitching ourselves and asking to be referrals. We want to interact the same way you would at a networking event. So this is small talk, but you only have to type it out. So it's not so bad. When we're commenting, a couple pro level tools here. If you are commenting and you tag you're commenting on Steve Goodman's post, you want to use the little @ and tag him. So @ Steve Goodman, it looks like you guys had an incredible time at the zoo. I love monkeys, right? When you do that, every time you comment, every time you tag somebody in a comment, their Facebook notifications are going to say you have 20 comments, but Sandra Gebhardt tagged you in a comment, right? And our ultimate goal is right now, where we stand in the world, people have to see your brand 22 times before they make a buying decision. And you are that brand. Whether you have a company, whatever else you have going on, people are associating you with that brand. It's 22 times. And on social media platforms, you have 1/4 of a second to capture somebody's attention. So these little things like tagging them in a post. If you're going to like a post or have a reaction to a post, never do the thumbs up, because again, it's going to say 70 people reacted to your post, or 70 people liked your post, but Sandra Gebhardt reacted to it. So we want to use the heart and over, because again, I need somebody to see my name 22 times. They're only seeing it 1/4 of a second at a time, so it adds up. So we're going to do 5 interactions, 5 comments. We're going to go in and react to people's posts. We're going to tag them in anything we can. If somebody if Devin has a listing, every now and then I'll share it and I'll tag him in it. And I'll be like, Devin always has the best listings. But when I share it, I at Devin, tag him in it, and then I use 2 to 3 sentences on why I think my audience might like what he has. So do that, whether you're sharing or commenting, start tagging people in it. Don't tag people in stuff you post unless it's pertinent to their information. So don't, I won't post this later on and then tag every single one of you guys. That kind of comes off like you're audience seeking, right? And the more you do this in your local community, the more people are going to start tagging you and start relying on your audience. It's really interesting. I promise it'll happen. So you just kind of roll with it. And then the next thing is we're going to send out 5 messages every day. So 92% of you guys are going to go through and you're going to do the connections and the comments, and then only 8% of you guys are going to do the messages. But this group's different. So I'm expecting 100% out of this group. 5 messages a day, okay? And what that looks like, again, is we're not like, hey, this is Sandra and I have a coaching program and I think you'd be a perfect fit for it. This is Devin. I used to have a wrestle buddy. Mine was the Hulkster. And me and my brother would totally get down with these wrestling buddies and dropping elbows, and we had a blast. I love that you're bringing that into your kids' world. That's so cool. I'm reliving the 80s right alongside you. That's a message you send out to somebody, because Devin is going to remember that message out of the 50 he gets today. So keep in mind, if you're not getting a ton of Facebook messages, that doesn't mean everybody else isn't. So we want to stand out. Again, we want to treat it the same as we would a networking event. So what would you say in the small talk of a networking event? We want to message that person the same thing. If you're a little bit nervous about getting started on that, birthdays are a great way to start kind of flexing that messaging muscle. But we're different. So we're not just going to send happy birthday. We're going to send, 2 to 3 sentences about their birthday. Bonus points if you do it in a video. In video, if you can send video messages, you're even a step further ahead of the game. Because I don't care who they are. If you send one to Kanye West, odds are somebody on his team's going to want to watch it at least, because we can't stand to not hit play, right? So you can go on and there's little filters you can use if you haven't done them before, but mess around with some of the settings. You don't have to have the great lighting. You don't have to have all of that stuff. Just pick your phone up and go with it. I
have a good tip for that, Sandra. And Steve Markowitz told me about this. And now I'm forgetting the cameo, right? Yes. So let's just say you guys have a big prospect that you're trying to really develop a relationship with. You send them, you can get some of these comedians or wrestlers for $25 to do a happy birthday, right? Imagine if you're a CEO of a company, somebody's trying to earn your business, and you get a Facebook message or a text message or an email message of, Hulk Hogan wishing you a happy birthday. Who is this? Oh, dude, I got to book a meeting with him now. And then he's sharing it, or she's sharing it, and then thank you so and so. Now you're getting tagged on everything. He actually now has a relationship with Baltimore Ravens football players through his insurance agency, all because of Cameo. And if you guys take nothing for the rest of the year, for the rest of 10 years from this group, if you start implementing Cameo to develop relationships, if that's the only thing you work on, you're going to close deals all day, every day.
Yep. 100%. Cameo is such an underutilized tool. So that's it's a great way to get out of having to shoot your own message for just $100 a day. You could never have to record your own message. But yeah, and when we get into, the last part of it, there's a 2 at the end, and that means post 2 times a day. So Cameo videos, Steve has leveraged those, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in. You start hiring people from Cameo to do thank you to local nurses, thank you to local school teachers, thank you to local stay-at-home moms. I don't care who you're thanking, putting a video together and putting it out there, and he'll say, tag your favorite nurse because we want to make sure she sees this. There's so many cool things you can do with that.
Just that right there, my goodness.
Yeah.
That's some powerful stuff, man.
Get creative on what you're doing. Posting 2 times a day. We start losing people when I'm like, you got to post 2 times a day. People way overthink their content, right? People just want a snapshot into your life. So again, when we're talking about becoming the Kardashian of your area, like, you've all watched our show at some point. I know you all have. So are they saying anything important? Are they showing you anything important? Any reality show you've ever watched, is it like super groundbreaking content? No, it's not. You just fall in love with these people on different reality shows and across the internet because they're showing you a little bit about themselves. So what I suggest to do to flex that muscle, if you don't have content in mind, set 2 alarms on your phone, just randomly. 9:32 in the morning and 4:87. 4:58 would probably be a better time. And when the alarm goes off, stop what you're doing and look around. What's happening, right? Every single morning that you guys have these meetings, post about them. It's value. It's a flex. I call it, embrace your bro marketing and flex every now and then. So anytime that you're working with a group of people to better yourselves, that not everybody's doing that. The majority of people aren't doing that. So let everybody know, hey, I'm part of this community and this is what I'm doing. And this is my goal this week. Hold me accountable. People love to help you win. You'll be absolutely
Sandra.
blown away. Yep.
Question in the chat. Lisa said, are stories considered part of the 2 times per day? What are your thoughts on that? Because I have my opinion on that.
Stories are a bonus. So you only have a limited amount of reach. So everything, without getting all technical and nerdy on you about algorithms and all kinds of stuff that I can drone on about that you guys won't get, if you do these steps, the 5 connections, 5 comments, 5 messages, what it does is it shakes your algorithm up. So then when you do your 2 posts, it's not just your mom and your Aunt Janet seeing it, it's your business people seeing it, the people you want to see it. So you're strategically placing your algorithm in front of them. Stories, on the other hand, have a much less reach. But stories are a great place to really make that next level connection. So stories are a bonus, in my opinion, and what I've seen come across.
Yep.
So
stories are a good way. Stories are a good way too, to, like you say, like, people want to see a day in a life. I can't tell you how much business I got through comments, through stories. And I shared too, I think it was month 1 or maybe one of these calls, we talked about creating polls on your Facebook and Instagram stories about how you can capture leads. Every yes is a lead, depending on what you're putting out there. If you're accounting, hey, it's so-and-so's coming up who don't know what the hell to do when it comes to accounting. Yes or no? Oh, yes, I have no idea. Oh, great. You probably got 15 more accounting clients because you did an Instagram poll. Like, people don't understand that, the power of that. And if you keep track of, like, I share, and you see, like, stories of my kid. Like yesterday, I was, stories of my kid. Then I was in the office working with one of the agents on my team while I was booking listing appointments. Then I came back for a lunch break, and people relive that story, and it gets that emotional connection to where people now want to do business with me.
Mhm.
Right. So that's the good thing about the stories. But to Sandra's point, everybody doesn't look at the stories. Right. So with my agents, I always say don't, because they'll do the stories because it's not like as public to them. So it gets them a little bit more comfortable. And it's like you're missing hundreds of thousands of views because you don't post on your own personal thing too. Do them both. So.
Yep, for sure. Because again, an hour ago we thought Facebook was just kind of there as a tool, but Facebook's there to make money, right? So now when you're saying stuff like, "Well, I don't want to feel too salesy," bullshit. Post stuff.
Yeah.
That's because that's what it is. So instead of having to buy a billboard, instead of having to run an ad in a newspaper, instead of having to pay for a commercial, Mark has given us this platform to just post on for free. So you're getting more reach. You can't control who drives by your billboard, but you can control who drives by your Facebook feed.
And by the way, guys, too, I want to share one thing for Sandra, in case you guys also don't know. So I met Sandra through a coach of mine, and Bobby's a mentor, you too. These guys are probably one of the most awarded ClickFunnels people. If you guys aren't familiar with ClickFunnels, Russ and Brutz, it's all marketing, getting people to opt in, buy products. These guys won the highest awards, multiple. They build 7-figure companies through marketing. So I want you guys to understand who Sandra learns from. These are people who bring in millions of dollars a month through marketing online. So this is what she's teaching you guys on what she's learned from people who are doing ridiculous marketing sales. These aren't it's unbelievable what I've learned in this digital marketing world. People are making $1 million a day, and it's on autopilot, the businesses they run, because of how they market, how they get in tune with people. So I just want to share that just so you guys make sure she don't just make this stuff up. She's learning from very, very, very high level people too.
Yep. And it just works if you do it, right? The same as everything else. It works if you can commit to doing it every day. And I've been doing it every day for 5 years now. Well, not every day anymore. I've got it kind of figured out. But the first 3 years, like I said, I put the work in, I put the time in. Now I know Facebook, I can kind of gauge who's going to interact and what I can do to re-engage people and stuff like that. But it just works. I did see one question pop up. Is this split up across both platforms? If you're going to do it on Facebook and LinkedIn, you'd want to do it twice. So we don't want to do the half effort on anything. And going back to the stories, I talk about this replacing networking events. This is why I call it, how to be everywhere, because eventually and pretty quickly, depending on your current friend list right now, people are going to be like, man, I've been seeing you everywhere. Well, they've only been seeing you on Facebook, but they feel like you're every time they turn around, you're in their stories, you're in their feed, you're commenting on their stuff. You're just everywhere all the time. And your algorithm. So when it comes to, being everywhere, that's where the stories come into play. It's almost like you're buying a drink and having a drink with somebody when they're watching your stories. That's kind of the next level of intimacy, for lack of a better term, when it comes to people engaging with you. Because if they're seeing your stuff, Facebook's going to say, here's a story you might be interested in. So I share a lot of my next level stuff. So when we're sharing content out, we want to let people see a day in the life of, again, your profile set up like a reality television show. We want to engage them. We want to leave them asking for more. And then in my stories, I'll share additional stuff about my kid. I shamelessly use my kid all the time for marketing. He's cute, and he's a terrible assistant, so I got to use him for something else. So I'll share additional pictures of him because people really enjoy watching him grow up, being part of the journey. I share my faith. So I share different Bible verses. I share women empowerment quotes. I share different events that I'm involved in. I try to post 5 to 6 stories a day. And that's where like Devin's saying, you get a lot more comments, direct messages, things like that on there. And you can organize people through polls and different stuff like that to see who's really interacting with you.
Awesome. Awesome. Anybody have any questions so far about the 5x5x5, which is great stuff. I'm going to take this to my real estate company too. Anybody have questions so far? Let me check this text box.
I have a question, Dev.
Yeah, fire away.
So you mentioned Facebook and LinkedIn, and I'm newer to all of them. Is there more value in one than the other? Or is it better just to be in both and really do something similar in both? And last question, and then I'll shut up, is there a tool, I think there is, that you can post in one place and it goes to both?
Good questions. If I had to choose, I would pick Facebook first, just because of the way that it's set up. You can grab way more business out of Facebook. People on LinkedIn are great resources as well, but they have their guard up a little bit more. It's harder to be entertaining on LinkedIn. It's harder to be a Kardashian on LinkedIn than it is on Facebook. When it comes to posting on your personal Facebook profile, do not use any third-party stuff. This shouldn't take more than half an hour. Devin, if you're teaching it at your real estate office, this is not a get out of jail free card, and they should be on Facebook for an hour and a half a day. I've had that happen when people have coached it or brought their staff into it. And I'm like, no. Your post shouldn't take more than a couple minutes. And again, your alarm goes off, you look around, what's happening, and then you tell the world what's happening, right? You can go through your phone. You've got 20,000 pictures on your phone. Pick one and post it. So does that help, Steve?
Steve, I'll give you some advice too, man. This is just from what worked for me. At the end of the day, we're all marketing guys. So it's a numbers game. How many people do you want to get in front of? Let's just think, all right, I'm buying a billboard, right? What are the questions? Well, where are the most people coming, right? All right, well, you want this is $10,000, right? Because well, listen, Facebook is free. So it's like, wait, I can hit another 5,000 people or 1,000 people on my LinkedIn. Oh, and by the way, it's free, so I would, at minimum, to Sandra's point, yes, definitely do Facebook. But I always tell everybody in my world, and I don't use like Twitter and Snapchat and all that stuff, but I hit my 3 every day. I hit my LinkedIn, I hit my Instagram, and I hit my Facebook every single day, right? Eventually, it starts becoming clockwork. But at the end of the day, you just want to be seen in front of as many people as possible to give you the best chance every single day to generate business. And the beautiful thing about it is, and I tell this all the time, man, you don't know how many people reached out to me that I've done business with that never liked a post, never commented. I didn't even know I was connected with them. Right now, I'm potentially going to close $1 million development deal because this guy who I had no idea, I don't even know how I was connected with him on LinkedIn. But he's seen my stuff. First, it ended up being me selling his house. And then now it's going to turn into some potential big real estate development deal. But the bottom line is don't get caught up on the likes and the comments and talk about being a Kardashian on LinkedIn. Tim Jennings is absolutely dominating LinkedIn right. I'm still even seeing Joe DeCrosta put Joe Silva. His video that he put up from like 5 days ago is still getting comments and still getting, it's just like boom, 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 boom. Why? Because it's video, but 2, it's personal on LinkedIn. And what is that doing? That's breaking the noise. I always like to use that term when I speak, breaking the noise. How are you breaking all the BS the same old stuff that everybody's posted? And I'm telling you, I'm still seeing like even probably Tim's videos from 3 weeks ago of him taking a walk. Sandra, this is like, been one thing that, with this community is a lot of people like to make small commitments and to work on mindset, taking walks. And that's been like a thing where everybody's reading, what's this, like a walk community you guys are doing, blah, blah, blah. It's unbelievable. But I don't even like to go through the whole, because then I literally got to give them a whole coaching consultation on why people are doing this anyway. But regardless, like videos from like 3 weeks ago are still getting comments, likes, boom, boom. I don't even know how many views they're probably at now. But hit LinkedIn, hit Instagram, hit Facebook, because you never know where your next lead can come from. And that is the exciting game of business. You just never know.
Hey, Devin, the other part of my question was, I've heard about Hootsuite, right? Which is I guess you can post on different platforms from the same place. Is that an effective tool, or is it just better to do them separately?
Well, and again, you can probably hear 17 different answers, but for me, the one thing that I know that really helps with the breakthroughs is the personal content on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So Hootsuite, what are they going to do? Post Volunteers of America 3 times a day. Congratulate, you know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing. I don't know if you're still going to be doing the work regardless. So if you're trying to load up personal stuff on there, well, now you're just taking an extra step when you can just spend literally, Steve, I don't want anybody to overthink this stuff. It's literally like I take a picture, I copy my content. Now with Instagram, you can actually hit the button and it posts right to your Facebook if it's not a business Instagram account and you're not connected to a business page. If it's a personal account, you can click the button on Instagram and it posts right to your Facebook. To answer your question, Steve, yes, you can hire a third party to post, I believe, business stuff. But the difference maker is tying in the personal game too, which then makes people like, know, and trust you to want to use you more than the person that's just posting the standard spam on the platforms. If that makes any sense.
It does. Thank you.
It'll always say posted by Hootsuite. And I'm like, Steve doesn't even have time to post this content that he wants me to read. Like, you're not that busy.
That's another,
point. Like that's how I see it, and most people do. And your reach is going to get trashed because Facebook's kind of the same way. Facebook's all about breaking news, as is LinkedIn. So if you use those third-party posters, the algorithm kind of thinks the same thing. Like, okay, we'll put it out and see what happens.
Justin, I saw you had a question.
Yeah, Sandra, thanks so much. This has been amazing. And I'm going to switch gears, but I was very interested on your take on Clubhouse, and if you had any gems for us there as well.
Clubhouse is absolutely awesome. I was actually on a stage with Grant Cardone and Bobby Awood, Joe Vargas, Hustler's wife, last night, and her and I made a connection. So it's incredible if you have the time to put into it. So it does take a lot of time. And I mean, like, I was spending like 60 or 70 hours a week. Like, there was a couple of nights I did overnights running rooms. That's how I got connected to Hustler and Bobby. They needed somebody to help with that. So you want to be very, very strategic about it. So if you only have an hour to give to it a day, or you're going to listen to it kind of like podcasts, then definitely look me up and connect with me, because what you want to do is find your little tribe. So you can go in and they'll automatically bring you up on stage. You can provide some value, start making a name for yourself, and start hosting different things. If you're in a B2B industry, it's huge. It's actually replaced my top of funnel, which is why I spend so much time in there. So what I'm able to do is go in, coach on stuff like this, and then move people to sales calls. Since I started with Clubhouse, or not started with, but in the last 3 weeks, because Clubhouse is still pretty new, it took me a little while to figure out how to do it. I have a club and stuff like that. And then how to balance that, not being too direct with sales and providing value at the same time. Over the last 3 weeks, I'm at 100% close rate for my program, because I'm able to warm them up over there. And then by the time I move them to a sales call, they've already spent a couple hours with me, and they know my coaching style and stuff. So for B2B, it's been absolutely huge. Real estate agents, I coach. So I have a program for women in insurance, real estate, and mortgage. And they are going out now on my council and doing first-time homebuyer seminars on Clubhouse. And that's really powerful. So it's just a matter of kind of trying to figure out the best way to use it that works for you. There is, if you're, I forget, what you call it, a digital junkie, Devin, or content junkie, or you can really, really do that. So you'll see a lot of names. Like when I got on, it was like Billie Jean is marketing and Grant Cardone and all of these heroes. Jay Abrams popped into a group one night and I like freaked out. I posted it in our mentor group. I'm like, Jay Abrams on Clubhouse, and I'm writing notes and I've always got my notebook with me. And so I spent the first like 3 weeks really like sitting in those big rooms and taking in all of this content that Rob's already taught me and, like rehashing it out. So that those first 3 weeks were kind of a lot of time lost, because the majority of stuff that's being coached in there is very surface level. And you have to spend hours and hours and hours in there to really be able to connect a thread. So I caution people to be wary of that. If you go into Clubhouse and people are asking you to pay to come up on a stage to ask questions, want you to follow them, there's a lot of, it's pretty heavy with the digital marketers right now. So you have to watch that kind of skis factor and make sure like you shouldn't have to buy anything. You shouldn't have to pay to be anywhere. It's a free platform. But the biggest thing is to find your tribe. So if there's a whole bunch of you guys that are all in the same local area, open up a room and call it, Jersey Shore After Hours. And then start bringing people in, right? And having time. I host a lot of rooms that I call open networking, where I invite everybody up to the stage. I'm like, tell us about your business, what you do, where you're from, and who a good referral for you would be. So we talk a lot about like actually connecting people up. And I don't have 1,000 people in the room. I'll have 20 to 100 people in the room, but everybody tends to leave there with business connections. So I've really kind of solidified myself as the person that can set people up with business, and then coaching on organic and paid social media. So you just have to be real strategic with it. And you guys, like I said, feel free. If you need an invite, let me know. Or if you come in, let me know and I can kind of show you around a little bit. And those gals, one gal has actually gone on and hosted the homebuyer seminar. She just posted a room and called it California First Time Homebuyers. 12 people in the room. She took 4 applications as a mortgage lender. So it is a powerful tool.
And with Clubhouse, and I like how you highlighted that. I know we talked about the Kardashians, right? If you're one of those people who have, you watch these sitcoms at night, well, guess what? Replace it with Clubhouse, because the stuff that you can learn you're literally hearing speaking engagements, masterminds all day, every day. Like, it's unbelievable, the free content that you can learn. It's like almost better than any college that I could ever imagine. Like, you can pick what you want, and you're learning from the people who've done it at the absolute highest level you can imagine. And they're giving it all away for free. To what Rob, and to really leverage it, what Rob, who, by the way, he's going to be our next Zoom trainer, which I spend a lot of money on coaching. He's probably one of the best ones that I've ever had. But he always says, give 90% of your stuff away for free or next to nothing, and then you charge for the last 10%. Clubhouse, you go out there on stage, give 90% of your stuff away for free. Then people will want to hire your service because now they're bought into you. They already know what you're talking about. You've already given them a ton of value. So imagine what they're going to get from you if they're paying for you, right? So that's kind of like exactly what you do. You get 90%, you give that value, and then it's like, all right, you want the real thing that will really take you to the next level and get that accountability. Well, all right, now pay up, so, and that's what you're seeing, which is great. And then lastly, one thing that helped me with Clubhouse, I joined the rooms. Just know everybody on Clubhouse, you can click on them and they all have their Instagram handle on there. So Sandra, and this is something that you can utilize too, and I think I shared it. I search them on Instagram. I direct message them. Great content on Clubhouse. Really enjoyed listening to you, blah, blah, blah. A lot of times they'll come back and follow you, right? And now what? If you brand the way that we coach on branding, and we just started, we haven't even been through the whole coaching process for a full year, the harvest. But if you brand the way that we're already hitting on, now you got them. Now, next thing you know, they start I see it happens to me all the time. Now they're starting to like your stuff. I got this one guy, because I'm very intrigued with Airbnb and Montana from Yellowstone. I'm fired up. That's on my vision board to get a ranch now. But what I'm saying is, like, I followed this Airbnb thing. So I'm listening, and this one guy has a big investment deals with these hotels, turn them into Airbnbs. I got him on a call. Now, because I do some syndication company on the side, not many people know about, but we're very close to doing some big syndications now. And just because of that message that I sent him, and he followed me. So I want to hold on. There's a few more questions. I don't
Yep.
want to be.
While you're looking up the questions, my Instagram has tripled. It's absolutely amazing, but I am making true connections. That's one of the reasons why I like those smaller rooms, is you can go in and you can make a true connection, and don't judge somebody by their followers, because you have no idea. There's some of these high level guys are coming in with, accounts that aren't flashy. And I met a $1 billion copywriter who actually has a duck as his avatar. And between him and James Wilder, my copywriting coach, my copywriting has it's become insane. Like I've just learned so much.
That's a whole nother game.
Messages,
copywriting. That's a whole other game.
To create that relationship with Bobby and Hustler, I was moved by Hustler's a whole bunch of stuff he had done. I won't get all into it, but my brother has a plasma table where he cuts out metal signs, and I actually had him make one that said Hustler, and I sent it out the same way I would buy somebody a drink at a networking event. And that really solidified that relationship. So getting creative in how you can interact with people and create those relationships, it's bringing value all the way around. I am from Roundup, Montana. There's about 1,400 of us here. It's a very small town. We've got 5 bars and 2 grocery stores.
Wow. Hold on, John. I found your question. Sandra, did you find what the best times are to post twice a day, or do we need to experiment with that to see what our audience engages with? Man, I remember seeing there's 2 times. I just forget them.
So there are very scientific times you can post. But that depends. So all of my posts, of my posts perform better because my audience is women. So my posts perform better late in the evenings and early in the mornings, and then over kind of a lunch hour time. So the biggest thing is to not take everybody else's word at it, but start posting. And your customer avatar, your referral partners, they're going to start telling you when the best times are. If I post right after school, like when everybody's taking their kids to sports and then they're on their phone, I get really good interactions there. That's when I'm talking specifically to my customer avatar, that 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock kind of time frame. And then late in the evenings. If I'm talking to a digital marketer, if that's who I'm posting and talking to, I can post those during the day, usually in the mornings, because they say they're working, but they're on Facebook. So you'll start seeing those engagements, those interactions. One of the most popular times on Facebook to post is Wednesday evenings, and I suck on Wednesday evenings. My reach does, but I have an incredible reach in the middle of the afternoon on Saturdays, which statistically is a terrible time to post. But again, we're at basketball games and stuff like that. So start watching your feedback and see what your audience likes to interact with. That's the best way to do it.
I do morning, afternoon, and night. That's what I do. Early morning, I do during lunch, and I do around 8 p.m. at night, typically when you'll see my stuff. And who knows, I probably could perform better in certain other times. I just had this build in my head for a long time because I figure 8 o'clock at night, everybody's laying on their couch scrolling, the kids are down, stuff like that. Early in the morning, everybody's up, lunchtime, people are eating lunch. I could be completely wrong. But
no, the number one thing is the consistency. And that's why we see Devin's stuff so often, because we're intrigued by it, we're interacting with it, and it's always there. So I always like to say, just imagine a world where it's a Thursday evening and Grey's Anatomy doesn't come on. Like, right? Everybody's going to lose their mind. Darby's like, I feel you, right? It's consistency. So whatever time you're putting your content out, you're training your audience. It's time to drive by my billboard right now. We can't escape Devin's post, but he's consistent. So you have to be consistent with what you post out. If you post once a week, you might as well buy the billboard, right? So find your consistency, and that's going to pay off way more than any course or any scientific time that this is when the most people are on Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook all the time.
What a word.
Can I ask you a question?
What's up, Andrew?
I want to ask Sandra a question, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course, man.
Good morning, Sandra. This is awesome. Thank you so much. I wanted to ask you your thoughts on circling back, talking about Facebook stories and utilizing the views on there for the 5 system you were talking about, what your thought was on that.
The stories are a great place to put your extra information. So, especially if you're doing the 75 hard or any sort of challenge, post about that actually in both places. If you want to maximize a challenge that you're doing, and you can make up challenges, right? Like I'm doing 45 days white bread only challenge. It doesn't matter. If you are doing a challenge, post about it every day because people want to get behind you. And it's really interesting because in the first few days, people are like, wow, let's see what's going to happen. But then by the middle, they're really cheering you on. And then they feel like they're part of it and they're commenting and you draw your audience in through challenges. So one of the challenges we do in my program is we do a 60 policies in 60 days for our insurance agents. And they post every day. I'm doing the 60 policies in 60 days challenge. I've never had anyone not hit it because people just start rallying behind you. I still get messages on the 75 hard because I tried to go live every day and talk about it. But the extra content, when I'm talking about extra content, that's where your stories go. So on the 75 hard, you click off the day if you're using the app, or some people just put emojis over it. That's where you put that in the stories, and people will start looking for that. If you're doing a challenge, make some sort of little graphic and put it up there. I share Bible verses in there. That's where I kind of share my mission. That's your extra content. Those are the people that you're standing around the bar with at a networking event and you're having a conversation. So when you're posting on your Facebook, if we're using this networking analogy, it's like you kicking in the door and being like, what up? I'm here. Who wants to network? And then your stories, your messages, those are your conversations around the bar where we're starting to get to know each other a little bit more. Does that help?
I think, Andrew, I think you may be on to something too. So when I think I know what you're talking about. When you can see the list of the people that view your stuff. So you're saying, click on them. So Sandra, when you on the story, you know how you can actually see your viewers. So I think what Andrew's also saying is that an opportunity to click and kind of message them?
That for your 5 system as database for your system, right?
Yes, I've got you now, Andrew. I apologize. On that, do not post. I mean, you can if you want to, but it comes off creepy when it's like, thank you for watching my story.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Damn, how'd you know?
I didn't even watch it. Facebook popped it up for me, right? But you can see who's interacting. And then you go back and you watch their story, right? You go back and you comment on their stuff. And then if there's what happens is you can take it into comments on another thread. And then if they comment back to you, then you can take it to Messenger and say, hey, it's been so fun connecting with you. And then talk about something that's happening. And then you can start moving into business. Now, some people say, if you're ready to ask for business, this is the phrasing I use. And I use it all the time. I will message Devin and I'll say, who's a good referral for you right now? Or I'll say, what can I do to help you with your business right now? I like to specifically ask, who's a good referral for you right now? And I do that with a lot of the guys that are less active in the groups that we're in when it comes to the digital marketing side of things. I'll just simply shoot out a message and say, who's a good referral for you right now? And they'll either tell me or they'll say, oh, we're sitting really good right now. And the laws of reciprocity, right? Then they'll say, who's a good referral for you? And I'll say, I need women in insurance, mortgage, and real estate. I usually end up with a couple of referrals out of doing that because it's just reminding people, hey, I'm here. Let's do some business together. But always ask them what you can do. What can I do to help you with your business, or who's a good referral for you? Because you have no idea what they're going to say.
I like the who's a good referral for you because Steve Goodman mentioned this last call about sometimes when people give you the old line, how could I help your business? It almost comes off as it's like you're like a robot.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you ain't going to help. Yeah, come on, let's be real here. You're not going to help me. Right. But who's a good referral for you? That, I don't really hear that a lot, like flat out like that. That's a pretty good line right there to where it's a little bit more personal.
Heather, did you have a question?
I do. Thank you so much for this. This is amazing. I can't write enough down quick enough, so I'm glad we're recording it. Do you think you should have a personal Facebook and then like your personal business Facebook account? Should you have two, or should you intertwine everything?
You should intertwine everything unless it's a matter of safety. So a lot of times I'll talk to women that have been in abusive relationships. They're kind of trying to fly under the radar. Now, in those situations, number one, if you are in that situation, message me. If you can't find me on Facebook, message Devin, and he'll get you connected with me. I will help you set everything up for free if you have any safety concerns from past relationships or anything along those lines. That's something I do for free for anybody. There's not a fake upsell on the other side. That's something I'm passionate about, is helping people stay safe on Facebook, but be able to do business at the same time. If you have no safety concerns, then post your life, right? Let people see your life. Don't post your dirty laundry. Like if I get in a fight with my husband this morning, everybody doesn't need to know that. Everybody doesn't need to know your every thought and your every musing, right? Again, we're just trying to entertain people. It's like little tiny TV commercials every day is what you're doing. So we don't want to be crazy, but we do want to let people know a little bit about us. So you're going to get more connections off of your personal Facebook stuff that you're putting out, the peek behind the glass into your life, than you are when you put a business post up. You are creating that know, like, and trust, and then they're going to do business with you. So you always want to keep that forward. And I love that there's so many women in this group. That's awesome. I see you guys. A couple things on that, and men as well, but for the women in the room specifically, if you are with your kids and you are having coffee at Joe's Coffee Shack, you do not need to post that in real time, nor should you post that in real time. Like, hey, I'm downtown with the world's cutest kid by myself, come get us, right? Post it later, post it 2 hours later, post it as you're leaving. You don't have to post in real time. If Devin goes on vacation and he's got that badass house with all that cool stuff that we see all the time, he probably shouldn't be like, yo, I'm on vacation, come get all my stuff, right? So it doesn't have to be in real time. So those are a couple things, especially girls' nights. I see women all the time posting like, out with the girls, right? Well, then you walk out into a dark alley afterwards and you don't know what can happen. So don't post in real time if you're by yourself, especially if you're on vacation. We get really caught up in feeling like everybody needs to know what I'm doing right this second, and they don't. They can know 2 or 3 hours later. Especially and on trips too, right? Like I just want to highlight a couple of these because you guys got me going now. The sun's starting to come up. We were in Florida, my mom and myself and my son, and again, we're on the beach in this strange area. So I didn't tag Daytona Beach and pictures of Gage on the beach. Every picture I posted, we had already left that location. So I really want you guys to hear that because it is a matter of safety.
Good stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank God I'm not dead yet.
With those pipes.
Sandra, I just wanted to say this is really valuable information, everything that you're going through, and I just really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome, guys. Well, listen, we're at 8:28. Guys, go follow Sandra. And remember, sometimes when you hear this stuff, if you're like, what should I do? Look at everybody else's account. You know what I mean? Like, follow Sandra. Look at what I do and just mimic it. You know what I mean? Like, you can see it in real time and get the education daily. You know, just a lot of times we tend to overthink things, which leads to procrastination, or we need it to be, you know, I always say perfection leads to procrastination. People don't want to execute on things because, oh, it's got to be perfect. Well, it's never going to be perfect, right? So, but a lot of times you can see in real time what people are doing. So just mimic what other people are doing and, you know, just be present, be active, you know, let people know. Don't be a secret agent, you know, so. Sandra, thank you so much. Justin's going to run through a brick wall. Awesome. No accountability for anybody next week, so you're all off the hook. But remember, guys, like I said, I do want to keep pounding it. Please make sure that Facebook group, that's where most of the coaching intentionally is going to be done. Post your questions, post things you want to work on, post your accountability. And I promise you, everybody wants to respond and help you with what works for them. And that's where most of the value is going to be at. And then we throw in these calls where it's rapid fire. Get your knowledge. Like, hopefully you get picked that day, the guest speakers and all that stuff. But don't miss the opportunity to really use that Facebook page, because we all want to help, and it gives us all the opportunity to pitch in with what works. Look at Mid with a Montana jersey on. What? Who's that? Joe Montana? You never been in Montana?
No, that's
What?
the
Are you
Grizz.
from Montana? Wait, hold on before we get off this call. What do you have anything to do with Montana?
That guy's awesome.
Mark Mariani, All-American.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what part of Montana you're in.
Central Montana. That's awesome. But we're Grizz fans. My husband was on the track and field team. He went to college there for 10 years.
So Mark Mariani played for the Bears and the Titans.
Yeah,
Got the Montana.
that's awesome.
Anyway, that's it. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Good
I
stuff.
love it.
Mid,
You get-
I didn't see any of your funny comments in the comment section this week. You were off today. There must have been some good
he had-
stuff
he had
that
a good
Sandra was
one.
pouring out.
He had a good one. He was starting a new challenge. He wasn't doing 75 hard. He was doing the cheesesteak challenge.
That's one
Listen,
I
it
can
will
stick
get
with.
traction. It will get traction. Good stuff, guys. Well, listen, have a great week. Remember, like Sandra said, share this with your communities, guys. And yeah, let's continue to grow. Let's continue to prosper, make your relationships, set up your one-on-ones, and contribute to the group, guys. Thank you. And connect with Sandra.
Great call. Thank you so much.
Amazing.
Thank you, guys.